What's up, everybody? Mr. Burt Green in the house once again. Sir Burt, how are you doing?
I am very well. I've overindulged over Christmas, and as we all tend to do. But you know what? I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to feel bad about it. There's one of those things. It's like it's very popular to feel guilty at this point of the Christmas kind of extravaganza. That it's 2nd of January now, and everyone and you feel bloated. You've been drinking non-stop for the last kind of 2 weeks, and there's that guilt there. But you know what? I haven't got time for that. It's sometimes it's good to let yourself have like a bit of a kind of vacation from being good. And now look, just make sure you get back into good habits again in the new year.
Yeah,
That's all you
man.
can do.
Absolutely, man. It's great to have you here. Happy New Year to you. Any
Happy New Year to
resolutions?
you as well, sir. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Any resolutions?
No, no, just keep being awesome.
Keep
Just
being awesome. Couldn't agree
yeah,
more, man.
yeah,
Congratulations on that.
that's it.
Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people they go and they make these New Year's resolutions, and it's January 1st, and they're like, okay, I'm going to cut back on alcohol. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to eat healthy. And then all of a sudden, some people are back for like the new year, and there's plans in late January, early February, and they've lasted 3-4 weeks, and it's like it's so demotivating. If you like, I'm not saying I've got the successful key to life here, but if you can do everything in moderation, you don't need any of these fucking New Year's resolutions, right?
Exactly. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Exactly. And if we're going to go down the sophisticated route, the only thing that should be inconsistent is your no fuck, I fucked it up. The only thing, what's the phrase, Bert? The only thing that shouldn't be inconsistent is your consistency. It would have been
Yeah.
perfect if I got that right.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but that's not the world we live in. That was,
It is not.
it's not a perfect world, and you know what? I shouldn't care to live in it if it was, because that
Exactly,
sounds pretty
man.
boring.
Exactly. Exactly. Come here. Do you have an opinion on Andrew Tate and the recent events?
I'll be totally honest. I don't really know who Andrew Tate is. I've really my finger has not been on the Andrew Tate pulse. Like people have been telling me, "Oh, but he's a fighter." I was like, "Is he?" Because I don't know. I know a lot of fighters. I
Yeah.
watch a lot of combat sports. Never heard of the guy. Like
Yeah.
I've heard his name, but only because they played a clip of him on Michael Bisping's podcast where he was like, I agreed with what he was saying, but not in the way he was saying it. He was saying, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is useless for self defense in like kind of street fighting, and it's
Yeah.
like, and he was saying it in an inflammatory way to get people riled up. I don't think he was all the way wrong, but he didn't present it in a particularly good way. Do you know what I mean? Like he is right in that it's not ideal for self defense because basically, if number one, don't get into altercations on the street if you can avoid it
Yeah.
because it's just bad. It's just there are no winners really.
Yeah.
But also, you don't want to be shooting for takedowns on a concrete floor. You don't want to be hitting the floor at all. That's just a big no-no. That's one of the things. Like the floor is lava. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's sometimes again, you even see it in MMA. Sometimes that's where the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys can come unstuck because they don't have that mindset of the floor is lava. My shoulder cannot hit the mat. I find some of the fighters that have that mindset are far more different. Volkanovski is a great example of that. Do you know, the floor is lava. He doesn't accept the position. A lot of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, because they're like, yeah, I'm great from guard. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yeah, you're great from guard, but we're adding strikes into this now.
Yeah.
So don't
Yeah.
you can be strong in weak positions, but that doesn't mean you should go and search out the weak position.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You want the
But
dominant position
but
still.
I love his
Just because you're
take.
good from guard, you should be trying.
Ooh, technical difficulties. One
Sorry,
of us froze there.
cut out for us. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but it's. Oh, tell
Yeah.
you what, it might be because my Wi-Fi's off. Give me 1 second.
Maybe that's what it is. There you go. I'm going to
Yeah,
fill
we
the
go.
gap with some elevator music. Do 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 do. Yeah, that joke has been used before. Not very good at filling, Bert. So I'm going to just sit here and I'm going to Look into the ether. I think you're gone. I think you're actually gone. This is fantastic. This is great TV.
Here we go.
And you're
Here we
back.
go. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
I
Nice.
was doing very well in your absence.
just doing elevator music.
Yeah. But I love Andrew Tate and his message. He is on the same side of the political spectrum as someone like Jordan Peterson. He's got this super aggressive opinion on a lot of things, and then media, social media, and all these other people who watch and see clips then talk about what they've read from someone else's opinion of what it said. And apparently he's this racist, misogynistic, woman-hating fucking scumbag. And if you read any of the articles that push him in the media, you'd think he was this fucking scumbag. But if you actually listen to what he's saying, and if you watch it in context, the guy is a fucking genius. I love this guy. And what's happened to him, dude, it's left a gap in the market for people like you and me. I'm going to try and take advantage of it as much as I possibly can.
But again, I'm honestly, I'm just not aware of the guy. Like I just really did until I saw that again. I'm not that interested. I was just literally, I saw like some of the stories. I was like, I don't know who this guy is. Yeah. I think Greta Thunberg's annoying, but this guy sounds annoying also. I don't know. This all just sounds annoying to me. I'm not going to pay attention to this.
Well, you see, this is what the realization that I've had over the last 2 months. I've been reflecting a lot, Burt. I've been soul searching. I've been digging down deep inside to become a better person every goddamn day. But I'm noticing more and more the inconsistencies, the double standards of life, the even in myself, dude. I would have years ago people who watch Big Brother and real time, like what's it, real life TV or reality TV, the Kardashians, all that kind of crap, would make fun of people who'd be watching shit like that. But the second Brendan Schaub and Ariel Hawani and Dana White have an issue, it's like, ooh, did you see what he said about him and his rebuttal? Dude, I'm guilty of that too. So I'm watching the world unfold in a world that I'm part of myself, that I would criticize someone for what they do. I do the exact same thing. So I'm still searching. I'm still soul searching right now.
Yeah. Every day is an opportunity to improve.
Yeah, that's it. Couldn't agree more. But what's your take on Liver King? Have you been following the Liver King scandal?
Well, I say scandal. It's just like, I don't know. Again, I didn't really pay that much attention to him because I found him annoying, because I was just like, oh, it's just this steroid freak who eats testicles. Cool, good for him. And I didn't know it was news. When they said, oh, it turns out the Liver King's on steroids, I was like, what? You didn't know? Look at him. Like, I'm sorry, but like sometimes, well, I know that they say, you can't just do it by the sniff test, but yeah, you fucking can. Yeah, you 100% can.
There's a very small proportion of people in the world that are genetically gifted to get to that level of your physique clean.
Yeah. And it's a very small portion, almost an impossible number.
Yeah.
Like it's just the amount of quote unquote natural bodybuilders that were out there that all of a sudden, when it got drilled into, it's like, oh, but you were taking human growth hormones. That's not natural, is it? Like, that's not. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. It's like when people talk about The Rock. It's like, oh, how does he maintain that kind of physique at the age of like 49? It's like steroids, guys.
Yeah. Do you remember Hulk Hogan?
Just take your vitamins.
Take your vitamins, say your prayers, eat your vegetables.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't like that. I've got no issue with him taking steroids. That's fine. But it was the fact that he was giving young men mostly like this false impression that if you eat raw testicles and bollocks like that, you can look like me. That was effectively his brand, and I think that's actually a douchebag thing to do.
Okay, well, let me just, because you say you didn't know much about him, let me correct that, and I mean this with the utmost respect. I've followed this guy for many months, right? And I've gone back over the last month to old podcasts and interviews that he's been on. First of all, his apology, I don't think he needs to apologize for anything. At no point did he ever say, do this and look like me. Take this and look like me. He's got a supplement company where he's promoting healthy supplements. They are healthy. There's no question about that. They were FDA approved. So that all has to go through the ringer. He was asked about steroids before, and he point blank said no. So he lied, right?
Mm-hmm.
Overall, his message is improving lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, be the best version of who you can be yourself. I think the lies on steroids is it's not enough of a guilty plea now, having been caught, to completely cancel the guy, because what he did was he just lied about taking steroids. That's all he did. And if you want to go down that route and remain consistent remain consistent, excuse me, you would have to delete every Twitter profile, every OnlyFans, everything, every Instagram, every Facebook, where we lie about what we do every day, because people post their most positive moments where they dress up. You know, girls have their filters, their makeups, their boob push-ups, their angles for pictures, guys with their cufflinks and watches. You know, if a guy is on an OnlyFans or has an Instagram where he's promoting this I'm rich lifestyle, or I look like I've got money in the account, and he's actually working 9 to 5, he's actually just barely getting by, but he's taking all these wonderful pictures. Well, girls are probably looking at that going, if I go get him, then I'm going to be set for life. And that's not the case. Like, this is an extreme example. But what I'm trying to say is everything is not at face value, in other words. And he's not saying at any point, do this and look like me. So I don't think he's guilty at all.
Right. But I would say that his brand was about, like, because obviously he's pushing a supplements brand. There's a certain inference. He doesn't necessarily have to say it. He doesn't have to say, "Oh, take these, you look like me." Like, he's promoting like this lifestyle, and he's looking the way that he does. And in that, there's an inference that's like that would influence people, because he's an influencer at the end of the day. And the fact that, like I said, it's just again, I don't know much about the guy, so I just I'll keep it short. But for me, it was in the brief kind of like research that I've done on him since the thing came out. My problem is that he's promoting this wellness kind of brand, and yes, he's not saying if you do this, you'll look like me, but it is heavily implied just by by what he's doing. But yeah, I mean, that's just the other side of the coin, isn't it? Devil's avocado.
Devil's advocate. I get it. But I'm just seeing these examples of what's being pushed in the media, what's being pushed on social media, a type of lifestyle, a type of a society that we have in our faces every day on our phones. And I'm seeing guys apologizing for stuff that they've no reason to. Like, if you're going to be a fighter and you go in and you're riddled on steroids and you go and knock some guy's brain and slosh it around his head, that's a bit of a different story. But if you're just a guy looking to look good, I mean, there's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with The Rock taking steroids. Like, literally, he's being paid to look good, and that's so he should be on all the gear. I have no problem with it. But it's when the inference is, oh, I just work out, I take these supplements, and I drink Zoa energy drink, and that's why I look the way that I do. It's like, that's not true, though, is it? Because you're taking human growth hormones and probably everything under the sun, to be totally honest. Nothing wrong with that, but I think that people should be more upfront about it. I think I'd love to see some of these guys be more upfront. Look, this is exactly what I'm taking. If you want to try and kind of pack on this kind of amount of muscle, these are the things that you're going to have to be doing. You're going to be having to stack Tyrannobol with this and this and this. This is what I'm doing. These are the potential side effects. But you can end up looking like me if you take these steps. I think that would be very refreshing, actually. I think there'd be a real market for that, because at least then people, that would be almost making it safer in a way, like giving people practical advice, knowing what to take, what not to take. I think that would be there'd be a positive to come out of that. I really believe that.
I agree. I absolutely agree, man.
Maybe Conor should do that.
We can go down that route if you want,
because he's on all the steroids right now, isn't he?
Yeah, there's such a heated debate now going on with this guy because he's been out of the USADA pool. Let's switch to Conor McGregor, dude. That's why we're here today.
It's a good segue, wasn't it?
Very good segue,
Yeah.
man. You've been on TV before.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Conor McGregor. Devil's advocate, not devil's advocate. What am I talking about? Just to prove my ability to overstep the word bias, right? I don't like Conor McGregor. I don't like what he's become. I didn't like him before he was who he was, famously wise.
Yeah.
But today I want to talk about what I like about Conor McGregor and my favorite Conor McGregor moment.
Yeah.
Um,
Same. I would also like to preface it and say that I agree. I think that he was an absolute scumbag before he became famous, and I think the only thing that has changed is his bank balance. And but that aside, he's done a lot for the sport that I love. So
yeah,
I'm willing to at least acknowledge the positives. And that's what we're here to do today.
absolutely. I think he has beat the game. He's transcended all expectations. He was famous in Ireland and the UK before he was known in the UFC, and he was just marketed correctly. They let him do a lot. They denied it. They let him do a lot. They let him get away with a lot. But I think it's a quote from Batman, the Harvey Dent quote, where it's like, either you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
First of all, what's next for Conor? He's going to go back into USADA. Who's he going to fight again?
Probably at light heavyweight by the looks of him.
He's pretty big. Those
He's probably
steroids
coming.
work,
He's probably coming for John Jones.
that would make a lot of money.
Yeah, it would. Because that is the bottom line, is that he has made money for that promotion, and that is why he is where he is. Because it goes back to the fact that the UFC, MMA, is entertainment first. Before it's a sport, it is entertainment. And some people don't want to accept that. They say, "Oh no, it's a sport. It's all about the best martial." It's not about the best martial artists. It's not. It's about the most marketable martial artists. That is a different thing. It's like, Paddy Pimblett would not be being pushed the way that he is if he had the personality of Jared Gordon. Like, unfortunately, that is just the world that we live in. And whether you agree with that decision, the judge's decision or not, I didn't personally. The real, because he's entertaining, because he will put asses in seats, he will continue to get pushed, and he'll get pushed right into a top 15, and I don't think that goes well.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Conor.
Conor. So Conor McGregor was someone showed or tagged Joe Rogan in a video from Conor McGregor saying, "Hey, you got to check this guy out. He's going to be your next guy." And then Joe Rogan said to Dana White, "Hey, this guy's in Ireland. He looks well. He talks well. He's a great fighter. We need to look after this guy and get him in at some point." So they got in. First fight against Marcus Brimovic, knockout in the first round or something like that. Those uppercuts and hooks and whatever he threw it.
He hit the soft part of his head.
Yeah, man, it was nice. Once Conor started getting the microphone in his hand, that was it. That was game, set, and match. He started predicting rounds. He started predicting how he's gonna win, how he's gonna do it. He started calling his own shots. He started to make a little bit of money and a bit of noise. And he fought Floyd Mayweather. He had a few losses in the octagon. He had several injuries. He finished with a loss against Dustin Poirier. Was that the Abu Dhabi one? No, that was Vegas.
I think it was in Vegas.
Vegas, yeah, that last one with the it was like an ankle break or something.
Breaking, yeah. Well, it broke the bottom of his leg. Yeah. But that's it. That one of the things that we touched on there. That's one of the things I like about Conor is that whether you like him or not, there are very few guys. Look at what how Anderson Silva was when he snapped his leg. He was in pieces on a stretcher. Chris Weidman in pieces on a stretcher. Conor McGregor is grabbing a microphone and talking mad shit, and that is something that I like. I've got to say, look, there's not many people that would snap their leg like that and still be like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you in your sleep." You know what I mean?
Your wife is in me DMs.
Yeah, but like honestly, scumbag move, but watchable. And my God, did it make a kind of a scene? Like, how many other fighters would be able to do that?
Yeah,
how many other human beings, like fighters, like there's very few human beings that will be able to put their broken leg aside for a moment just to talk more mad shit on a microphone. That is a check in the positive column for Conor. The
Yeah.
man is always tuned in to how to sell. He's a salesman more than anything else. He's
Yeah.
a salesman.
Correct. What's your favorite Conor McGregor moment? Because I have mine.
I mean, to be fair, I think my favourite Conor McGregor moment, it's a cliche one because it's one that most people will have, but it's when, bless him, he turned around to Jeremy Stevens, because Jeremy Stevens was just like, yeah, you don't want to fight me because when I knock people out, I knock them out flat, and he turns around and goes, who the fuck is this guy? Right? Perfect. Couldn't have done that any better. The timing, was brilliant. He didn't even have to say anything disrespectful. The disrespect was like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. That was brilliant. A similar thing happened when I went to see Randy Couture. He did like a Q&A thing in London. It was brilliant. Got to meet him and everything. It was really, really cool. But do you know who Alex Reed is? He's
Yeah, he was with Katie Price or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Alex Reed was in the audience, right? And he was really monopolizing all of the questions. He kept on just asking, more or less having a conversation. Like everyone else had questions that they wanted to ask, and like Alex Reed just wouldn't shut up about just talking to Randy Couture, almost like they were having a private conversation. Like, no, this is a Q&A for everybody. You fuck. You know what I mean? Like, what were you doing? And then finally got to the next question, and someone said, Randy, how long would it take you to knock out Alex Reed? And Randy just said, I don't know who that is. Who's Alex Reed? Sorry. And he wasn't meaning it to be disrespectful. And then everyone would just say, yeah, it's that guy who talks. He's, well, yeah, I'm retired. So, yeah.
Oh, amazing.
But
It's like that time someone asked Floyd Mayweather if he would fight Ronda Rousey, and he said, "I don't know who he is."
yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, and he's
Can you
like,
believe
"Oh,
there was,
who's Ronda Rousey?"
yeah,
Yeah,
there was a time where people were legitimately thinking that was a possibility that she could go into a boxing ring
yeah,
and beat Floyd Mayweather. It's like, no. I
yeah,
said at the time, I was like, absolutely not. Stop talking crazy. That is crazy.
yeah. The
Yeah, just
uneducated MMA
yeah.
fans just
No. Yeah,
being
come on now.
yeah,
I think we've seen that. Like the level of boxing and MMA is just not high enough to compete with even like the good boxers, let alone the elite ones. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, if Francis Ngannou thinking that he can go in and be competitive with Tyson Fury is laughable. It
Lamb to
really
the
is.
slaughter. That's not going to
Yeah.
work.
No, and honestly, they're not going to do that fight. People he kept on kind of calling for it and saying, "Oh well, I'm going to hold out and go and box Tyson Fury." It's like Tyson Fury has already forgotten about that. He doesn't. He doesn't. Like he was just talking.
Yeah,
That's all he was doing. Like there's no contract in place. You're going to end up like leaving the UFC, getting out of contract, losing those like $1 million payday fights to go and chase a boxing match that is likely never going to happen.
yeah.
And then what? What
Then
you're going to
what?
solve Bellator?
But I mean,
Come on.
when you talk about like, it's funny you mentioned boxing. My favorite Conor McGregor moment is the boxing fight against Floyd Mayweather. The anticipation. I mean, it was literally just like
Yeah.
reality TV. It was this. I think they did 4 cities:
Yeah.
California, Los Angeles, California. I think New York, London, and one other place,
Canada.
Canada, somewhere in Canada.
Yeah, Ontario, I think. I don't know. But
And it was huge. Like it was a massive like a promotional tour, and they did really well. It was very, very mainstream, let's call it that. The hardcore MMA fans were just cringe. I remember Dana was up on the mic going red, going the reigning, defending, like it was
yeah.
like embarrassing. But my favorite Conor McGregor moment is at the weigh-ins for the fight. Floyd made weight first, and then Conor got up and just started talking mad shit to Floyd, and Floyd just stood there. I don't know, was he just shaking? Was he just embarrassed? Was he just terrified? I don't fucking know. But Conor's talking mad shit to him. And at the end of his rant, he looks Floyd in the eye and he just goes, Ella, Ella, which is Irish for
Yeah.
Ireland. And it was just like that moment where the whole fucking country of Ireland just turned. Whoever hated Conor loved
Was
him
in.
for that
Yeah,
moment and was locked in.
it
Dude, it
was
was fucking beautiful.
because again that brings me back to the one of the main things that I like about him, which is he's a salesman. He can sell me on almost anything. He made me believe he might have a chance against Khabib. I didn't think that realistic. Obviously, I didn't think realistically. Like realistically, what happened was what I thought would happen. But I've got to say, going into that fight, there was a part of me that thought, "Man, what if Conor does land that left hand? What if he lands it? You know what I mean? What if he just knocks his ass out? Well,
Yeah.
then, do you know what I mean? And he had me think it because he sold me. Do you know what I mean? He sold me on he might actually be able to beat Floyd Mayweather. He sold me on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was
The
because
anticipation.
he's a scary dude as well. Like
Yeah.
honestly, because to be fair, I wouldn't want to stand in front of him whilst he's like shouting that kind of shit in my face. Like he's a scary, intimidating guy.
Yeah.
Like because also it helps that he's probably a bit of a scumbag, and you know that he probably take quite a lot of pleasure in doing some damage to you.
Yeah.
And you've got to be careful with guys like that. He's definitely in the right business. You know, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's what and I really enjoyed like I said the build up. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but did you? There was that Irish lad that did that song. There's only one Conor McGregor.
Oh, at the
Uh,
weigh-ins, yeah, talking to Holly Holm. Holly Holmes.
yeah, but he did
Yeah.
that song, and I like that song. It was pretty good. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Very
like
good.
Floyd, watch out, 'cause the Irish are coming. You say what you want, but you'll do nothing. It was
Very
just
good.
like, yeah, it was good. It was fun. The
But
whole thing was fun.
yeah, it really was. Now let's play devil's advocate here now. So let me just preface this with who the fuck am I? I'm just a guy talking into a microphone with another guy talking into a microphone. I'm not here saying anybody should have done anything or should do something. I'm just me. I'm just talking. So bear with me. If you want to switch off, fucking switch off. The other morning, Bert, I sat and I watched a 2-hour podcast. You may have seen it before. It's the heart to heart that Joe Rogan had with Brendan Schaub on
Right.
The Fighter and the Kid. You seen that episode?
I've seen it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The problem with Connor after the Floyd fight is people should have sat him down and say, "Hey, listen," because that's the problem with Connor. He's got yes men who are making a lot of money off of him, and with Brendan, he was off that Travis Brown fight. He wasn't doing as much. He wasn't having as much success as he was having prior to that fight. He was heavily involved in the podcast, heavily involved in other things that
Yeah.
were making him money. And if Connor, after that fight, sat down and said, "Hang on a second, I got 100 million in the bank here. I don't need to take any more brain trauma. I don't need to risk my record because I've lost this one." I think was the Nate fight prior to that or after it?
It
I'm not
was
sure. It was
prior.
prior,
Yeah,
prior,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because
So he had
the
the loss
first
against
the
Nate,
first fight he had after Floyd was Khabib.
was Khabib, right?
Yeah,
So when you talk about the game, like you're risking your legacy every time you get in there. You're risking your next your record. Someone should have sat him down and said, "Hey, listen, get out. You don't need to chase your next win and then retire off the win." Even after the Cowboy win, hang on a second, you got back in after this long layoff. You have just beaten Cowboy. You've got fucking gazillions in the bank. Get out.
get out.
Get
Yeah,
out. You're done. Get out. What if that was the case? It would have been I think the best thing in hindsight for Connor. Do
yeah,
you agree or
probably.
disagree?
I do agree. Yeah, but I mean, but there's still fights to be had, and it's because at the moment he's not a serious championship contender, and everybody knows that. But he is there for fun fights. Like if they were to put together Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor, I am tuning into that.
Right.
I'm tuning in 100 times out of 100. I am paying for it'll probably be a pay per view on BT Sport. I would gladly pay my money to watch that fight. That's a tremendous fight, and I think that's an okay fight for both of them. There are ways to win for both of them there.
Right.
That's a really fun one. That's the next fight for me. If Connor's going to come back, I feel like they should do Chandler versus McGregor. But
Wait,
I do
who
think
did Chandler fight last? Chandler won his last one.
no, no, he didn't. He lost against
Dustin?
no.
No.
Was it Dustin? It was Dustin. It was Dustin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
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 he
yeah.
lost to Dustin because before that he flatlined Tony Ferguson with that front kick.
Yeah, there was fish
Yeah.
hook accusations and shit like that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Now it's all
Right.
coming back to me.
So
Yeah.
yeah, both are on a loss. Both are very good strikers. Michael has the wrestling, of course, but yeah, that'd be a fantastic fight.
Yeah.
But
That's the one.
If Connor loses that fight, then sir, you were done,
I
right?
don't know if he is. Honestly, I don't. I don't think there's an amount of fights that Connor can lose to make him not a marketable fight. Like, he's just too big. Like he's
Right,
the biggest star the sport has ever seen. Whether he's won or lost his last fight is completely irrelevant. He could fight Dustin again, and people
right.
will be like, "Yeah, I'm tuning in. Yeah, I want to see it."
So what if
I,
he loses his next 5 fights?
I still think you could put him in there and still sell up pay per views. Genuinely, like,
The scary thing is you're right.
he's transcended records.
Yeah.
Records are meaningless with Conor McGregor. He's just
Yeah.
and that's brings me to nicely to the next thing that I like about Conor McGregor is the sheer energy he brings to a fight week.
Yeah.
It's an electric just atmosphere. I get swept up in it because again he sells me
Yeah.
on he might be able to because again whether he might not have the most well-rounded fighting style. There are bad matchups for Conor McGregor. We all know it, and we all know that he did get kind of a pathway that avoided a lot of those matchups. The wrestlers that he fought, like your Chad Mendes, like he outsized massively, which
Yeah.
is always going to be a problem for the rest. But put him against some of the bigger wrestlers in the lightweight division, and there's a lot of bad matchups there for Conor McGregor, but he bypassed all of them into matchups that kind of fed into his style a little bit. Because, like him or not, his style is fun. It's a fun
Yeah.
style to watch because he is trying to knock the other person's head off. He's very good at it. His striking is very, very high level. His grappling and his takedown defense might leave something to be desired, but from a stand-up point of view, he is one of the best out there. Where you don't whether he got an easier path to those titles or not, he still held the featherweight and lightweight title simultaneously in the UFC. Those historically two of the harder divisions in the UFC, and he held the belts in both of those. That doesn't happen by accident. He is 100% one of the best, like, in the world, or at least he was at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When he was really feeling it, when he hit his rhythm against Eddie Alvarez, it was like watching poetry. It really was. It was like every shot was just working. Everything worked. It was almost like he was like at a boss level, and he was executing like a super or something. And it
Yeah.
was just like, and stuff like that is just fun to watch. It just
There you
is.
go, man. Absolutely, dude. And that's why I love talking about it, because I'm not a Conor McGregor fan. I don't like what he has become, as I said at the beginning, but to appreciate what he's done to the sport and for the sport that we love so much, like, he brings so much. And as you say, you could have him go in and lose his next 5 fights, and then people will still tune in for his 6th fight, and you're not going to give a fuck about anything else.
Absolutely.
I would love to see that Chandler fight, actually.
Yeah. Right. The more you think about it, the more you're like, oh, that's
yeah, the trash talk, the press conference.
I don't think Chandler would wrestle him. I think Chandler's the kind of guy that would just be like, "No, I want to throw some hands with you, mate."
Yeah, and he's smaller too, so that would feed right into Conor.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'd love to see that, or Tony Ferguson. I think Tony is on the sabbatical, right? He's gone back to college.
Yeah, he's going to get his doctorate.
Yeah. But
good for him.
No more brain trauma for that guy. For the love of God.
Yeah, please no. It's mate. The only fight I want to see for Tony Ferguson is Paddy Pimblett.
Hold on, bro. I'm talking. I'd see that.
Think,
I'd watch that. 100%.
That's a marketable fight.
Yeah.
It's a fight that maybe Paddy, I think it's the only fight in the top 15 that Paddy could. Although I believe Tony Ferguson has now been removed from the rankings, but he was 15 he was number 15, and I
Yeah.
was looking at the top 15, and I was like, the only one that I can see Paddy not getting flattened is Tony Ferguson. The rest
Yeah.
are all pretty horrible matches.
Absolutely. So let's see what happens, dude. Man, it was a pleasure to talk this shit out with you, man. I love these type of podcasts where there's nothing coming up and we can just reflect on what just happened, which is great. So thank you very much for joining me, man. I appreciate your time.
No, it's been a pleasure, man. I absolutely, yeah. I love having these chats with you, man. It's an honor to be here on the
Awesome,
DT
man.
podcast.
It's my pleasure. Next episode, we'll do a John Jones one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in. I'm in. Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Look after yourself.
Cool, man. Take care.
Take care. Rockin'.